Ms McDonald, thank you for joining us.
My pleasure.
What would you do with your mandate?
Well, I think the first thing we need to do is ensure that an executive is formed and that we get back to business. I mean, in the course of this campaign, it has been very, very clear that people are really struggling with the cost of living crisis. They need breathing room, and they have been angered, I believe, by the fact that we have £330 million, a lot of money for the north of Ireland, that we haven't been able to allocate or spend and get into people's pockets because the DUP walked away from the executive. So that's the first order of business. We need to demonstrate that all of us as Democrats can honour and abide by the rule book that is the Good Friday Agreement, that we need to demonstrate that we can work in partnership, we need to demonstrate that we can collaborate, that we can be pragmatic, and above all else, I think we need to demonstrate that we will actually put the welfare of people in very difficult circumstances now economically, that we will put those people first.
Okay.
That's the first thing that
Mary
we will
let me ask
do,
you about that.
leading. And
Great,
Yep.
sorry, it's a bit of a delay. I just wanted to ask you about that because the DUP have refused to say whether they're going to share power with you or not. We wait, obviously, to see who wins and then to see what they say. But to share power with them, you are probably going to have to compromise on the border system, on those Brexit checks, which they're very, very unhappy with, and they want, in part, certainly taken down. Are you ready to compromise?
Well, let me say two things on that. Firstly, you know, the north of Ireland, this place and this system was engineered more than a century ago when Ireland was partitioned to ensure that there would be a perpetual unionist majority. I mean, it was engineered in such a way to ensure that nationalists and Republicans would not hold high office and certainly would not hold the first ministership. So it is more than symbolism now, and a huge message of equality and progress that we are, I hope, and it seems, on the brink of a nationalist or Republican woman, a progressive woman, occupying the highest office in the land and leading the executive. And it is therefore very important that our unionist partners demonstrate the respect and the equality that is due to all of us, you know, and that they are willing to share. This is all about sharing.
Mary Lou, will you compromise with them, though? That's my question.
On the issue of the protocol and the checks in the Irish Sea and so on, again, that is a consequence of Brexit. And I have to say, I hate to be the one to say we told you so, but we told them so. Brexit was a bad idea. Right. Brexit was potentially catastrophic for Ireland. The protocol is necessary, and in any event, the protocol itself and any changes that they may wish to see made to it, those are matters that will be negotiated between the government in London and the European institutions. And furthermore, there is a joint committee specifically designed to allow the airing of those issues and the resolution of them. And by the way, none of them are beyond resolution.
Okay,
they are all
you don't see that as your responsibility.
if they act with good faith.
Okay, you don't see that as your responsibility. I want to ask you about one final thing. I think it might be a question a lot of British people over here will be asking, a lot of Irish citizens as well, of course, because you represent Irish people in Dublin. Sinn Féin exists to reunite Ireland, obviously. You now have potentially a mandate to start pushing for a reunification referendum. Are you going to do that?
Well, yes, we believe that Irish unity is the best plan, the biggest opportunity for all of us who live on this island. Partition has been disastrous, led to conflict and no end of hardship. But it has to be done in a way that is planned, orderly, democratic and entirely peaceful. So I would say this, in the first instance, we need to start planning now for the change ahead, and that has to involve all of us, and we believe it needs to be led by the government in Dublin in the first instance.
When do you want the referendum?
I would also say this.
When do you want the referendum?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Mary Lou, I'm saying you want to start planning for this referendum to reunite Ireland. When would you want to hold it?
Well, I believe that we are going to see these referendums, and there have to be two, bear in mind, north and south, in the coming years. Certainly within this decade of opportunity, we are going to see constitutional change on the island of Ireland. I believe that the referendum would be possible within a 5-year time frame. But much more importantly, I believe that the preparation needs to start now. There will be no prize for anyone who buried their head in the sand or who allowed even the prospect of a disorderly reunification process. We saw Brexit disorder, lack of planning, lack of understanding. We are not going to repeat those mistakes on the island of Ireland.
OK. Mary Lou McDonald, President of Sinn Féin, thanks so much for talking to me.